Hello, hello. You're listening to another episode of Inside the Techosystem, a podcast where we bring you fun and insightful topics on tech and its ecosystem in Nigeria. I'm your host, David Chuka, and I'm joined by my co-host, Emmanuel E. E. He's spending
EU.
we're having this conversation the other day where I said Emmanuel is the most European Nigerian I know right now.
That's so wrong on many levels.
It felt really bad, you know. It's been what, a year
Just
since you
1
left.
year. It's very wrong on many levels.
Oh
But I'll
man, how
let
you
it
been,
slide.
man?
I've been good. I am currently in the middle of a move, so things are a bit like
Oh
shaky, but
yeah,
um,
yeah.
I'll be all right.
That's something we actually should talk about one of these days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So spoiler alert, I'm moving to another country.
Yeah.
So it's been like a rough 1 year. Not
So
completely rough, but
European of you, man.
how is that European?
To move
Anyways,
countries wherever you want.
that's more Nigerian.
Oh my god. All right.
Anyways,
Okay.
yeah.
Imani didn't ask me how I'm doing, but I'm doing okay. You know me, I don't like to give too
If that's
much
the
of
response, you would give me, that I wouldn't ask.
I don't like to give too much of, I like to surprise the crowd, never let them know your next move, literally and figuratively. You get it? No? No?
Nope.
Okay. All right. In this episode, we have a very interesting guest. All our guests are pretty interesting anyway. Uh, but this one is very interesting because she's doing things I dreamt of doing when I was her age, right? And we're really glad to have her around. We are talking about Helen. Helen is going to fully introduce herself, but I'm just going to give a brief intro about Helen. Helen is a software engineer and a hardware engineer. Helen, am I correct? Like she does both?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. And Helen is building some very interesting stuff, right? I found Helen on the internet, on Twitter actually, and I was like, oof, I like to talk to this lady, get to know about her work, and just learn about what she's doing, what got her interested in what she's doing, and a couple of other things. So yeah, we brought her to the podcast today to talk to us. So Helen, please, we're just going to let you introduce yourself a little bit, and then we can move ahead with our conversation. We're going to have a very interesting conversation today.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me here in your podcast, and I'm very happy to join you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Helen, and I am a software developer. Okay, I'm a Nigerian from Ebonyi State. Okay, and I studied software engineering in a computer school where I got an advanced diploma certificate.
Nice. Okay, so
Yes.
the truth is we've brought a lot of software developers here today on this podcast, but Helen is quite different because Helen programs hardware as well, right? So I'd like for Helen to tell us a little bit about her journey, how she got started in tech, and how how she's gotten to where she is right now. So Helen.
Okay, well, I think I started my journey in tech in the year 2020. Yeah, that was the COVID-19 period. So that was a year after I finished secondary school. So when I was in secondary school, I've always had this, like I wanted to build smart stuffs. I wanted to solve problems in the world using softwares and all that. So that was actually what drove my interest in tech, though I didn't know how everything used to work. Like I didn't know the coding and all that. But I think through my brother, I got introduced to the school where I got my certificate. Yes, so I started
Okay.
attending the
What
school,
school was that?
and the name is Aptech.
Oh, Aptech. I know there's
Yes.
an Aptech in Lagos. So what Aptech are you
Yes.
talking? Was it the Aptech
Aptech,
in Lagos you went to?
the one in Enugu State. Yes. They have
Enugu
different
State. Oh,
branches in the states. So I attended the one in Enugu
no,
State.
that's cool.
Yes.
That's cool.
So
That's cool.
the program was supposed to run for 2 years. Yes. So that was how I got into tech. And honestly, the journey wasn't so easy because like most of the people I was seeing there were all guys.
Oh
So
wow.
we were just like two girls in my class.
Oh
So
wow.
but then I was like, oh, I'm
Did
this
that
kind
did
of
that discourage you in any
competitive.
way?
Yeah, so I'm a competitive person. So I didn't
Oh,
want to
okay.
be left behind, even though I was a girl. I didn't want to be left behind. But I just tried to put in extra work after classes. I
Mm,
tried to do things on my own. At night, I tried to go far, like beyond what my
mm,
teachers has taught me.
mm.
And
Oh wow.
before I knew it, like I started doing better. So I would say that actually I did better, even more than some of the guys there.
Okay.
So that was it, yes.
All right. So like what were you learning at Aptech while you were there? Like were you following a particular stack, a web development or
Well, Avtech is a software engineering school and they will like teach you most languages, yes. So they will teach you many languages. Though some people come to the school and then they will want to follow a particular stack. So
mm,
they would like to pay more attention to the web development and then they will leave others. But
mm.
I know the school fees like was not a small money. So I wanted to get experience in every language. At least when I'm done, I would
Mm,
then focus on the one I think I prefer. So
mm.
that was how I got to do many languages. I learned C there, I learned C++, I learned Java, I learned PHP, I learned C sharp. So,
Wow.
and each of these languages, I made sure that I at least built a project with them just to help me to
Okay.
understand it more. Yes.
That's nice. So tell us what was the first thing you ever built? Like, first program or first project you ever built?
Okay, the first program I ever built was, I think that was HTML and CSS.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes. So after teaching us HTML, I think when they were teaching us HTML and CSS, I decided to try out something on my own. And the first thing that ever came to my mind was designing the periodic table. Yes.
Wow.
I just made a design of the periodic table. That was my first ever project on my own.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. I think I also remember the first thing I ever built. I may still have the HTML file set. Like if I look
Obviously,
for it,
obviously, what you built was trash, so we don't need to hear it.
Emmanuel, no one asked you that. No one asked you that. But Helen, I want to ask actually because I think I got I was really intrigued in what you were doing. Like when I found you on Twitter, I was really intrigued in what you were doing because you were writing code for hardware basically. I think you built a fingerprint sensor system at one point or something like that. You built
Yes.
a couple of things, right? And
Yes.
I'm curious, you went to Aptech, and I don't think Aptech was teaching, some of these things. So I want to ask what kind of drove you or motivated you to go to that path where you started getting materials and sourcing materials and writing code for these hardware systems. So what was the motivation to do that for you?
Okay, well, Aptech was more of a software school. They didn't really teach us that hardware there. But I think
Mm,
because once in a year, like 1 week in a year, we usually have this students' week. Okay,
mm,
where that is the only break we do have in Aptech, the students' week.
okay,
So
okay,
where we students we just take some break and do some other activities, maybe gaming and all that, just other
okay,
activities. Then
okay,
that particular year, that was 2021. That particular year during our students' week, the manager there called some IoT guys, some engineers to come and do a workshop for us for that 1 week. So instead of using that week to just play
Okay.
around, we wanted us to use it to do that workshop. And that was the first time I ever heard of
Mm,
IoT. So
mm.
during the
Oh,
workshop,
wow.
they kind of introduced us to what IoT is. They showed us some things like what IoT can be used for and all that.
Mm,
Okay, so they showed us like some kinds of robots, and I was like, wow, this is really nice building smart
mm,
stuffs like this. Okay, so
mm,
I was trying to follow up with the lessons and everything. I didn't want to miss that lesson. I was like, maybe I will really follow this part. And after
mm.
that, before they left, they had to sell the starter kits to some of us, even though I didn't have
Wow.
enough money that time. Even though I didn't have enough money that time, I had to go and tell my mom, please, even if it's to borrow me 20K, just let me get this starter kit.
That's
So that was
nice.
how I got the starter kit, and they left. So with the knowledge they gave us there, I started trying out some things on my own with the starter kit. So that was how I kept advancing on IoT. Though that 2021, that was when I first decided to try out this fingerprint project. So it was
Oh.
just like a baby trying to do something very high.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was really choked. Like that particular project messed up everything for me, because I reached a point where I didn't know what else I would do. So I reached a point where I didn't know what else I would do, and the whole team made me to even lose interest in the IoT. I didn't want to do
Mm,
again because I felt like
yeah.
it's no longer responding.
Yeah.
So even in programming, I didn't even want to code again. I was just tired.
Yeah.
So, but
You reached
then
your breaking
I
point,
just,
basically.
yes, exactly. I was just like, well, let me just try leaving everything. Let me just try out other activities, maybe the things I feel
Mm,
like I've always wanted to do. Let me do them and let me see. So I had to travel. That was the Christmas period, and I had to travel. I made sure I didn't go with my laptop so that nothing would tempt me to touch it or code or anything.
yeah. Yeah.
So during that time, all I was just doing was watching movies, and
Mm,
I was just watching movies. And ah, before 2 weeks, I got tired of the movies. I was like, I want to code. So, and I got really like better ideas, and I really wanted to implement them. So when I
mm.
came back, I started coding again, but still I didn't go to IoT.
Okay.
So I think it was November last year that something just came to my mind. I was like, let me go back to this IoT again and try out
Mm,
something else.
yeah.
So that was how I tried it out again. And this time around, I didn't go to that high project. I
Mm,
just went to the one that would be a bit like easier for me. And that was I think the bulb, the photo resistor bulb, yeah, that
yeah. Yeah.
ons at night and then switches off during the day. Yes.
Mm,
So that was the project that brought me back again. And then I was like,
mm.
wow, this project worked. Then let me do
You were
more.
surprised.
That was how I exactly. So that was how I now built um, the clap bulb, and I continued till
Mm,
okay, when I felt like okay, I'm already getting used to this, then I started the fingerprint project again. And this time
okay.
around I got it.
Nice.
Okay.
So apart from learning at tech and
Yes.
doing those things on your own, what else? Which other way did you use to learn like hardware and software? Were you in any kind of community, or did you have any kind of group that motivated you into continuing this path?
Okay, well, when I was in Aptech, I kind of had a group of those who are interested in hardware. So we planned to build so many things together, and we were learning together. We were working on something together, and it actually helped me to keep improving my hardware skills. And then I joined the Arduino community where any problem you have on the Arduino, you can be able to share it there, and you just get answers there. You'll be able to see the problems that others have had before and how they solved it. And
Is it the
also,
global? Sorry, is it the global Arduino community or a
yes,
specific
the
one in
global
Nigeria?
Arduino community. Yes, the global Arduino community,
Okay.
Arduino.cc. Yes. So, and YouTube too helped me. So,
I think why he is asking if it's the global Arduino community because Emmanuel also had Arduino dreams at some point. Emmanuel, what
oh
happened to your
wow.
Arduino
Let,
dreams?
let, let's not talk
Wow.
about that. We're talking about
Oh,
success today, okay?
no, I really want to hear that.
So for me, I grew up wanting to be an engineer, but somehow
Mm-hmm.
my path led
Oh,
me to do computer science and I entered software. So I always wanted to go back to that my childhood dream to like
Mm.
do
wow.
electronics. So I always had an idea to do hardware programming. So I started trying what's it called, Raspberry Pi. That didn't work
Okay.
out for long. I tried Arduino, but every time I tried, there was always some software project that was more interesting for me to do. So I ended
Mm.
up
Okay.
abandoning Arduino. So
Oh,
now I've packed it
wow.
up until I don't know, until forever.
Wow.
But maybe this episode would inspire me to pick it up again. Who knows?
Yeah.
I pray it does.
Arduino.cc.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked about the community thing is that a lot of
Okay.
times, like when people get into tech, it's kind of difficult for them to get past a specific level or threshold. So they start off by watching tutorials. You get the high of so this programming is not so hard after all. They start it, and then they get to a point where it's like it's so difficult for them to move to the next stage. And usually, it makes sense for them to join a community that will encourage them. Okay, there are many people struggling like you. Sometimes you read about that stuff online. We see things like, oh, you're not alone. But it's different when a real person tells you you're not alone. So the
Yeah.
community thing is very important. That was why I was
Mm-hmm.
asking if there was one, like in Nigeria.
In Nigeria,
So is there one, or it's just the online one that you've been surviving on?
No, it's just the online one.
I mean, you must
yeah.
be a very motivated individual.
Really, because
It's not like I'm in a school where I'm going to see so many of my mates who are really
yeah,
interested in this. Okay.
yeah.
And the people interested in these they are just limited. They are
Mm.
limited in number. Okay. So it's not like I will really find them. So I just have to
Okay.
make up my mind that this is not something I can find anyhow.
Yeah.
Although I think that there exists some of them, maybe we can share those with you because I know when I was in Lagos, I had a friend who was into hardware programming and he had attended a few meetups, so to say. So there
Okay.
should exist some of those because I
Yeah,
mean,
probably.
hardware is probably more fun when you do it with
Yes.
a group of people than software because you're
Yeah.
actually seeing what you're building. It's not like you're writing
Yeah.
Yeah.
some code and pushing it to GitHub or something.
Oh yeah, back end engineer. So I mean, front end people, we see what we build. So it's okay. It's okay. It's cool. But like Helen's story has really, I mean, it just made me think because it's something that she was really determined to do right from the get go. Right, she really, really wanted to do it. So it's almost like, look, like that curiosity part of it is something that you should really pay attention to. Like she's really curious, right? And I think even if you think that there are not a lot of communities, right? All you need to do is to find as many people as curious that are curious like you are, right? Community is not hard to create. Don't worry. If there are
Yeah,
many curious people in a room, community has started just like that. Like
that's true.
it's very easy. Yeah.
And so, Helen, like when you build your project, you need materials, right? You need, for example, you need a bulb, you need a couple of wires, you need the Arduino board itself. Um, how do you source for those materials? Do you buy them yourself, or is there like a process for you? Let's say you start a new project. How do you find each piece of the puzzle for this project?
Well, first of all, when I want to start a new project, I think of the components needed. Then, most components I might not be able to find it near me locally in the market. So I will either order from Jumia or I will order from AliExpress.
Oh wow.
AliExpress saving lives. Damn.
Right. How long do you wait for your items to get here from AliExpress?
Well, that makes me to like plan ahead. Okay, so like now I know the project I want to handle next month. I know the project I want to handle in 2 months time. So
Oh nice.
I start now to plan. Okay, this is what I need, except I don't have the money at hand. That is the only thing that would like delay my order. So
Okay.
s-
Man, that's interesting.
sometimes
I really.
I wait for like 3 weeks, 1 month to get my order from
Mm.
AliExpress. The last one I ordered, I think I waited for up to 2 months. I
Oh
don't know
wow.
why.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
maybe,
That's
maybe
nice.
maybe they held your shipment at
Yeah.
customs.
At custom. That's interesting. Planning ahead like that. I want to ask. You talked about how you took a break, which is also a very important
Yes.
factor. There's so many things to learn from what Helen has been saying. Actually, she took a break for a long time. Didn't code, just wanted to rest, and then by the time she came back, her brain was refreshed enough to kind of like just get back into it without much hassle, right? And you said you got started with the smaller projects first, the light bulb thing, before you went back to the projects that chased you away in the first place. I want to ask first,
Exactly.
you got that project to work afterwards, right?
Yes.
Interesting, interesting. That's cool. So I want to ask what motivated you to start sharing videos, because we hear about building in public all the time, right? We hear about building in public all the time. When I started learning how to code, I used to hear about building in public all the time, but I never did because I don't know. A lot of people are not going to believe this, but I'm very shy on the internet. I'm not shy in person, but I'm shy on the internet.
I don't believe you.
I'm serious. I'm serious. So it was really hard for me to post my stuff on Twitter, like do 100 days of code or something like that. But like if someone goes to your page, right, they would see a couple of videos which you've already uploaded, and the videos are really exciting. I wish people will see Helen talking about the project that she's working on. She's all smiles and she's so excited to share. Sometimes she even drops a teaser. She's like, guess what I'm building tomorrow. Yeah, like, okay. It's almost like a trailer, so everybody gets excited. Okay, what's she going to share, right? So like, what exactly motivated you to start sharing videos on the internet and putting yourself out there?
Okay, well, the truth is like you're just doing all this on your own. That was just what I felt like. If I'm doing
Mm,
all this on my own, then nobody will even know I'm doing this. I will not be able to
mm,
connect with the right people that I'm supposed to connect
mm.
with. Okay.
Okay.
But as I'm putting these projects out there, I'll get to like see people who are really interested in this. I'll get to like see meet like minds, people who are really interested in what I'm doing. And I will get to connect with them. They will know that yes, Helen is doing this, and I'll get to connect with
Mm,
them. And also another
mm,
thing is to inspire others. Okay, because I see that not many women are doing this. Even me as a girl child doing this, I know like some things that I have passed through. Yes, I know
mm,
like some limitations and everything. So I just
mm.
felt like, okay, let me put in this up here. And above all, the only thing that motivates me is putting these projects out there. Okay.
Okay.
Because when I put it out, people are like, wow, Helen, what are you building next? What are it to motivate me to even think of something next to build, even when I don't
Yeah.
want to build something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
feel like people are always rooting for me, people are always looking out to see what Helen wants to build. So and
Okay.
it will keep me building, it will keep me like building, to keep me being consistent in everything.
Hmm. Okay. So I want to ask, do you? I feel like currently you work as a software engineer. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. What
I
do
work as a
you
web developer
currently?
currently.
You work as a web developer, right? Okay. So I'm guessing like IoT for you is mostly it's like a hobby at the moment.
Yes, it's like a hobby.
Yes. Yeah. But like, you do know that there are possibilities that someone would see some of the stuff you've done and would be like, "Oh, would you like to work, in an IoT firm or something?" Like, if that happens, like, would you be willing to take that job?
Why not? Why not?
Okay.
I'm
So would
getting to like
you?
love everything, even more than the software.
That is
So
exactly what I wanted to ask. That is exactly what I wanted to ask. So thank you for answering that for me. I wanted to ask if you now currently prefer, building stuff, than writing for the web and all of that.
honestly, these days
Okay.
I'm even like these days I'm even like the spirit flowing in my room is just the spirit of IoT, because I have a couple of web projects. I have a couple of web projects to do. But once I'm in this room, like I'm just seeing all these components. I feel like just building. I don't want to like do those
Right.
web projects. So when I want to
Yeah,
get
I
serious, the
understand.
way I just carry my bag and go out.
I understand. I understand. I understand. Your room has been programmed for for smart viewing. Right. Can
Exactly.
you tell us? So I'm going to guess you keep up with some of the latest trends in IoT
Yeah.
and hardware programming.
Yes.
Can you tell us what are some of the latest developments? Like, for us, we're in a software world. So if there was a new framework or if there was something cool that everybody was talking about, we'll kind of already, have an idea of what it is. So like if you're talking to, rookies, newbies, can you tell us some of the
Yeah.
latest developments in IoT currently that not the average person doesn't know about?
Okay, well, it's just all about the robots doing extraordinary things. Yes.
Mm.
So I was just kind of watching the Boston's dancing robot the other day, and I was like, wow. Even how the robots like get the beat and everything, it even dances more than you, Safe.
Oh,
I'm
sorry, what
like,
did you call it?
how the Boston's
The
dancing
I think
robots.
it's like this group in this university, right? They
MIT?
work not MIT, Boston Dynamics, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
they basically work
So
on they're trying to push, advancement of robots and all this stuff. So
Oh
I
wow.
think I've seen it
oh
dance. It's pretty great.
wow, like for someone who has tried something out, I'm like, how did they even come out? I'm just trying to get the whole logic on how they built that. And I'm like, wow. So
Mm,
just robots trying to do things in an advanced way. So
mm. Okay.
So I just looked it up now. So Boston Dynamics is a robotics company that was founded in 1992 as a spin-off from MIT. So you're correct.
Oh,
So it's from
okay.
MIT, not another school. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So like are these robots, are they connected to AI yet? Because I believe those are the ones that are going to take over the human race at the end of the day. I don't know if are these robots connected to AI? Should we be scared? Because they can already dance better than we can do. So like, what's next?
well, the popular Sophia said that she's going to replace you guys.
Oh wow. I thought that was a skit. Is that real?
That's real. She
Oh
even
wow.
has a
That's
legal
real. She said
identity.
she's going to
Like she's
replace you all.
recognized legally.
Okay, that's scary. That's quite scary.
So
I've
now
seen
she
clips of
attends
that robot.
interviews just like you.
She attends what?
She attends interviews just like you. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh
The
wow.
end is definitely near, Sha.
Probably, most likely.
So what's the coolest thing you've built? Um, I'm guess I'm guessing it's the fingerprinting, or is there anything else that you've
Yes.
built that
is that
Yeah,
is
it's
that
the
the coolest thing?
fingerprint stuff. Yes, that's the coolest thing I think I've built. Like,
Okay, so what's the second coolest? Since we've talked about that already.
um, I'm really going to classify this coolest project based on how hard it was for me.
Okay, all right. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, yeah. The second one was actually the fire alarm system stuff.
Oh
Yes.
wow. Please, can you tell us more about that, please?
The fire, that's an automatic fire extinguishing system whereby it senses like fire around the
Oh
house,
wow.
and then it will pump water to the roof of the house where the water sprinkles down. Yes.
Oh wow.
So
I feel like
I just
you are
felt like
just casually mentioning this amazing project. Like
oh, you've not
I'm
seen
just
that on my page.
because as you're mentioning that, I'm just scanning through my entire career. I can't even find anything close.
Oh man, go away. That's a lie. Stop,
No,
stop
but
it.
that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth. Those are amazing projects. And in my mind, like one of the first things that I was thinking of is if you can build these things as side projects, what stops you from pursuing like large scale projects where you build these things, for example, maybe get a contract with the government or some kind of contract that allows you to build these solutions into things that everyday Nigerians can make use of? Because I feel like there are many of these solutions that are already out there in the Western world that if we can just, implement here, it will be really, really good because it's coming from a local person, like someone that lives and someone has grown up in this side of the world. So, have you ever considered doing something like that?
Well, I've considered that, but I'm not really going to build a product, just a product on my own, because I know how
Mm,
costly it is. So
mm,
for now, I'm just trying to like source some less expensive components and then
mm,
build upon it. Okay.
mm.
So though the next project I have in mind is actually going to be the most expensive project I've ever done.
Yo, can't wait.
Anyway,
Looking forward to it. I still want to hear about the fire alarm system though. So you said it detects fire, pumps water, and then that kind of like so like
yes, the water sprinkles in the house.
you actually got this to work?
Yes, I got a prototype of it. Yes, I
Okay.
kind of like
Okay.
made a fire, the sensor, like it sensed the fire and then it activates the pumping machine, which then
Oh
pumped what
wow.
I connected a pipe from the pumping machine to like somewhere above, okay, somewhere
Mm.
that can actually splash water down to quench the fire. Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So
that's interesting because in my mind, anytime I think about like hardware project, I'm always thinking like
yeah.
very small scale, like a toy car, some kind of small thing. But you're talking about connecting to a real system, like a pumping
Mm.
machine. That's incredible. So this fire detector thing, does it detect fire or just heat in general?
um it detects fire. Yes, real fire. That was actually
Mm.
my problem, the problem I had with this project.
How to get it to detect fire.
And not just heat, right?
Yeah.
It could also be like a smoke detector because usually if there's wildfire, then there's
Yeah,
smoke rising from it.
I actually had that problem because like the sun rays, the heat from there. So I took it outside to like do the testing and everything, but the sun rays, it will just be raising like a false alarm. I don't know why this is doing like this. Inside the house, it's working. But when I go outside, like, what is going on? Okay, so I
A
started
greater power was involved.
honestly, like honestly, that was when I knew that the only problem that doesn't have a solution is a problem not known. Because like
Mm.
Mm,
I didn't know what was actually going on. What was
Okay.
that's
happening? Once I want
it,
to shoot the video outside, it starts raising a false alarm. What?
So did you fix that? Did you solve that?
Yes, I actually started reading, like I stayed checking online, though it was hard for me to even find out that the sun was actually what was affecting it. So
Oh wow.
I read and I was like, oh wow, so it was actually the sun. That means it was actually from maybe the kind of sensor you used when you want to do this kind of project. You have to use a kind of sensor that checks if this is real fire, like the rays of the sun, if that is what is affecting it and all
or
that.
if
Mm.
it's Holy Ghost fire. I'm sorry, this
Emmanuel,
spiritual joke, but
Emmanuel,
just getting
please,
anywhere.
Emmanuel, please let this be the last time. Please. Let this be the last time. Thank you very much. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
so dope. I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of transferable knowledge. I mean, it's both engineering, whether it's software or hardware, right? There's a lot of transferable knowledge from even writing software to like because sometimes you encounter some problems during coding and you're like, where is this even coming
Ah,
from? And then you have to
oh my
like go
God.
back to the foundation to like read a lot of stuff that's so annoying, right? So I completely understand actually.
There is one curious question I have. So one of the impediments of learning IoT or learning hardware in general is the knowledge of physics or chemistry or basic science. Do you think it's possible for someone who doesn't have a science background, like somebody who went to arts class or someone who went to commercial class, do you think it'd be difficult for such person to get into hardware engineering compared to them going into software engineering?
Mm,
Well, in hardware engineering, you're going to see mathematics, you're going to see physics there. So I would
mm,
really say that it is the positioning of your mind.
mm,
Even if you are an art student, you didn't do all this. The problem is, are you willing to learn each
mm,
one you come across? Because
mm,
you should already position your mind that, yes, I'm going to see physics here and I'm ready to deal with any physics I see here. I'm going to
mm,
see mathematics, I'm ready to deal with it. So once you're ready to learn upon any one you come across, then fine, you can go for it.
So it
mm,
means you might take a longer time since you don't have the
Um,
required foundational knowledge.
well, not really take a longer time because some people will be like, if you don't know mathematics, don't come. And some people will go and start killing themselves learning mathematics from scratch.
yeah.
Okay, but
Oh
what
no,
I
that's no,
believe
no, I
is
don't think that's I think that's extreme. Like to start everything from scratch. So
Yeah.
you already said it that okay. So if you're trying to learn something and there's something you don't know in that thing, then you go back and learn just that
exactly.
thing, not the entire physics. Because I mean,
Exactly. And
it took us three
the whole
years to
thing
learn
is
physics.
when you're doing it practical like this, when you're doing the practical aspect, it will be easier to learn. Because those physics they taught us that time, like it is now that I'm seeing the applications. And I'm like,
Mm,
wow, if it was now that they were teaching us those physics, I will
mm,
understand everything. Because
mm,
I'm already coming across it like practically. So I'm already
mm,
seeing
Yeah,
the practical implementations of all those things. So when you come across, it's just like this electricity, negative and positive, when you come across things like that, then you can just do some research. Okay, this. And with the practical you're already doing, you will learn faster, say.
that's really nice. And are there specific websites or resources where you usually go to get this knowledge? So let's say you have some trouble understanding, let's say optics or electricity in general. Is there any specific website you run to, or you just like Google every time?
I actually Google every time, but there's this particular website that actually always give me what I want. And I've forgotten the name. That's robotics something.
Okay, if you
Forgotten the name.
remember during the episode, you can let us know so we can add it in
I
the
will.
show notes. Yeah.
Okay.
And what opportunities do you think are available to hardware programmers in Nigeria? Because I know, like abroad, like Boston Dynamics, for example, you can go and work there, build those nice robots. But in Nigeria, you don't. At least from my own point of view, I don't see many hardware companies.
mm.
So, do you think there are many opportunities? And if so, what kind of opportunities are there for people who are learning this hardware thing in Nigeria?
And are there people sliding into your DMs? Okay, that sounds wrong. Are there people reaching out to you for like job for like oh Helen, would you like to come work for us? Maybe there's an internship role or something like for people that are very interested in hardware programming. Should they just give up and start doing software because there are not a lot of job opportunities? Or have you been seeing like uh a rise in the amount of messages you get asking you for your hardware skills?
Well, the only thing is, if you're coming into this field, you should be coming in with a future perspective, not
Mm.
a present time perspective. I was,
Helen, Helen,
that's what I would
Helen is so
say.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
wise.
you're so positive.
All right, so why do you think so?
So that is what I would say because right now there are not many companies. Like I think
Mm.
like there are not many companies doing this in Nigeria. But the thing
Okay,
is, one, this is what you love, go for it. The
Yeah. Okay.
second thing
But
is,
how will you
you know
eat?
that
Quick question: how will you eat?
exactly why this is for the strong-hearted. So that's why
Mm,
even me, like, I find it very difficult to teach someone robotics,
mm,
because I feel like, are you really serious? I want
mm,
to see because I know that this field is very, like, it's very easy to give up on the way. It's very,
yeah.
very easy.
I can
So by the
testify.
time you buy by the time you order components and everything, but if this is what you love, if this is what you have the passion for, no matter what, like, you will not give up. And those are the kind of
Mm,
people I try to find, and those are the kind of people I try to work with, because I don't want to, like, waste my knowledge on someone that tomorrow the person will, like, leave it and go.
mm,
So
mm,
so honestly, like, if you're coming into this field, you should be coming in with a future perspective. Presently, there are not many companies doing this. But the whole thing is
okay.
that we know that there is a future in this. We know.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
And if you have the skills now, maybe at the time you find yourself leaving Nigeria. Yes. By the time you find yourself maybe leaving Nigeria, you know that
outside
yes.
outside the tech ecosystem.
Exactly.
You know
All
that
right.
yes, like, you have this kind of knowledge and you can build upon it there. So
Yeah.
that is just it.
So, like, do you have dreams of doing exactly that? Maybe leaving Nigeria and going full time into hardware,
Who doesn't
IoT.
have that dream in Nigeria?
Let's lower our voices. Thank you.
All right. All right. uh,
We have
So,
to keep
Helen,
it
tell
grounded in
tell
first.
me more about your speaking involvement, your speaking engagement, because I've seen you a couple of times. I think you came down to Lagos for Oscar Fest. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you were a speaker at Oscar Fest, but I've seen you speak
Yes,
at
I
a number of
was.
events. Oh, you were? Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I've seen you speak at a number of
Thank
events,
you.
and how's that been for you? What was the motivation to get started speaking? Because right now, you're putting out videos. I don't know if you write as well, but like you're putting out videos, you're speaking, and I also believe you're teaching in some way. Maybe some people that want to get into robotics, you kind of set up an easy um class or something for them, and you teach. So how has speaking been like for you? Tell us about your first speaking engagement. How was that like for you?
Well, the thing is that speaking is actually, let me say, one of the things I was born with. I love teaching. Yes, I
Mm,
love teaching. I can remember that time when I was little, like, I would kind of gather chairs and start teaching them. Anytime I go to school and I come back, whatever they taught me in school, I'll just start teaching the chairs. So, but you as a human being, you want to come
Sorry,
and sit on
sorry.
those
I
chairs.
need to cut you short. You were teaching cheers.
Yeah.
Wow.
that's passion right there.
So this future thing, you're actually practicing it. Nice. That's good.
And the worst part is that you as a human being, you want to come and sit on those chairs and learn. I won't want to teach you because I feel like you are coming to make trouble. You don't just want to learn. So I prefer teaching those non-living things then. Like, so I was just trying to use that to build myself and others. And, like, teaching is always what I loved. So I think the first teaching engagement I had was in the Developers Festival at Ado Ekiti. Yes, that was the first speaking engagement I had, and I
Oh,
talked
wow.
about data science there. I just gave like a basic introduction of data science, maybe people that are really studying statistics in school that don't know where they're actually going to. Maybe you can consider data science, data analysis, and all
Okay.
that. So, and I've actually spoken in some couple of places, both in the Women Tech Makers event. I think the last one was at Onisha, where I spoke about building and sustaining a career in tech.
Oh,
And
that's my
at
city.
Oscar First, oh wow.
Yeah,
Are you
How
that's my
big do
serious,
you
city.
hold yourself?
Onisha?
Yeah, I'm from Onitsha.
Are you serious? Wow.
I'm serious. Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about you,
Onitsha North to be
Emmanuel?
precise. Emmanuel is from
I'm
is
from
from Europe.
Amara. No, no, no. I'm not
From
Igbo.
where?
I'm not Igbo.
It's from Europe. It's
From
from
where?
Europe.
I'm not from Europe, like I'm from Kwara State.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's nice.
Sorry, continue your story about women tech makers speaking in.
Okay, so and my last speaking engagement was at Oscar Fest, yeah, and I spoke about IoT. Not really speaking.
Okay.
That was a workshop. Yes, that was a
Oh
workshop.
wow,
Because yes,
wow! I
because
missed it.
because I kind of like built some stuffs with them. I tried out the Arduino with them. Yes.
Oh, that's nice. That's
I
really
should have been
nice.
there. Maybe I wouldn't
That's
be
really
where I am
nice.
today.
Please, just go, man. That's nice. Would probably include maybe if some of your talks are online, we'll probably include that or include those in the show notes. Uh,
Okay.
so I want to ask: have you started adding AI to your work?
Well, not really. Yes,
Or using
Not
AI.
really. Or using
not
AI in
really.
general? Not really. Okay,
No, not really.
that's
So
fair.
I'm
Yes.
still
That's fair.
fighting it. Don't worry, don't worry. I give you a few weeks. So what do you think about like the hardware, like on the global stage? What role do you think it will play in terms of, I don't know how to frame the question, but for example, in software, right, people say things like software is going to be, the penetration of software is going to be in everything, government, everyday stuff, everyday life, personal life, TikTok, social, everything like that. Software is there, but in terms of
Yes.
hardware, of course, smartphones have already eaten the world because in the first place, for you to run
Yeah.
software, you need some kind of device, and smartphones have done that. Do you think there will be more devices? For example, Apple released this their Apple Ojigo, what's it called? Apple Vision Pro, which is like
Yes.
$3,500. That aside, there are
For big boys and big girls alone.
many more companies are building these devices, Apple Watch, watches, many of these things. What do you think the future will look like? Are we going to have like many more of these products, even the ones that we cannot really think of today, or is going to be like less because people will start complaining about having too many hardware things to carry around?
Well, I would say that the hardware is actually the main thing helping humans. Yes, that's actually the main thing helping us to ease the stress and everything. So as far as we can build something that can actually help us, like just like the aeroplane. Okay,
Mm,
so just think about traveling to a far place without the aeroplane and all that.
mm.
So
Use a
like
camel.
the hardware is actually the main thing. So the hardware is actually the main thing helping humans. Like it's actually like assistance to humans. Okay, and I know that in the future, the hardwares are going to be solving more problems. Okay, it's just like all these blind people, they're trying to produce some things that will at least help them to work on their own, will help them to move on their own and all that. So it's just trying to identify real problems that people encounter and then producing things that will help them. So, and in the
Mm,
future, there will be a lot of things because when we think about it, we still have a lot of things to do.
yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
have this very interesting idea that just came to my mind in terms of like the progress of hardware compared to software. So
yeah,
today, mostly if you ask an average person, they'll tell you, "Oh, of course, software is like the
software,
most
yes.
advanced thing." But the thing is, people don't really like hardware is so commonplace that people forget that they exist. For example, in medicine, there's so many things, there's so many breakthroughs in hardware that has made medicine like very, very, let's say,
That's
uh,
advanced medicine.
yes, that's yeah, exactly right. You can't scan, X-rays, what's that thing called, MRI, ECG, all those things are like mostly hardware. Software
Mm,
is catching up
Yes.
in some of these spaces, right?
yeah,
In those hospitals, you see some really crappy UI, some old looking software, but the hardware
yeah,
is like 10 years ahead. You get
yeah.
so there are
Sure.
many of these
Yes.
areas where hardware is like really ruling, but because it's not something that is shiny. Like it's not something that you're going to swipe, and click like. I know those kind of things.
Yes.
You're not seeing it in your face every day. So I feel like while software might be at the forefront today, I feel like there's like a revolution. I don't say revolution, but it's like something budding in the background. And I feel like if the Nigerian ecosystem can tap into it, it will be nice
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then there will be like a very mad explosion.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
And it's something I'm actually looking forward to, really. And we have our pioneer on the podcast today, Helen.
Yeah.
Helen is going to lead the charge. All right, Helen. We are so glad you joined us on this episode today. We are so glad we had you on the podcast. We've actually come to the end of the episode, but we usually round up every episode with one question that we like to ask our guests. It's a really, really, really serious personal question. So please let us know when you're ready to answer.
Wow. That must be a really serious wow.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's really personal. I'm just kidding. Don't mind me. I'm just kidding. So the question is, what would you be doing if you were not in tech? You never went to Aptech. You never got your first Arduino kit. You never, you never built your fire extinguisher, fire alarm, or bulb. You never went for that break and went back to coding. What would you be doing if you never got involved in tech at all? Do you know what that is?
Well, I think when I was in secondary school,
Hmm.
I kind of loved catering.
Oh, okay.
Love
Fair enough.
baking. I love baking and all that. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
but though, like, I don't even think that would have been what I would do to take.
Do you need some time? Do you want to take some time to think about it?
Well, I think
I
that
feel
would
like
be
we're
the
so
skill.
entrenched in this tech that
Like,
sometimes it's so difficult to think without it.
Right?
honestly, like,
Because we've gotten some really interesting answers on this podcast. Someone even said
honestly.
he would have been a pastor, and I'm like, that's fair. That's fair.
I think I would have been a caterer, yes.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Kitra,
I've
Kitra,
been
it
a
is there.
caterer.
But thank God you're in tech. Mm. All right, Helen. Thank you so much for joining us on the episode once again. We're so glad to have you, and
Thank
we'll
you.
put the links to your socials and where everyone can find you in the show notes. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Remember, we release new episodes every other Wednesday, and you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. If you would love to connect with us, you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Inside the Techos, or subscribe to our newsletter and shoot us an email at insidethetechosystem@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners. You can follow the host on Twitter as well, Chuka at Siwadiogu and Emmanuel at Olaoluwa_98. All right, see you in the next one.